my vision is if Christian young people are the ones who, when they get asked to speak, they're already trained in the skills. They're not afraid to say, yes, I will. I will take that platform. I will accept this invitation. I will get up. I will speak. Like, that's my goal, is that Christians are ready and willing to take those platforms when they're offered. So those kind of public speaking skills are fantastic. But also, the other communication skills that you learn through speech and debate are how to listen. That is equally as important.
Hi, you're listening to the Zan Tyler podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Zan Tyler podcast, where our goal is to help you thrive in your homeschool journey. Let me take a minute just to ask you to please subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen or watch, including YouTube. And if this podcast has been encouraging to you, please leave us a good review. Every review really helps us. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We post a lot of content there as well. I'm really excited about our guest today and her topic. Christy Shipe is a second-generation homeschooler, and she is the daughter of Mike and Vicki Ferris. Mike is the founder of Homeschool Legal Defense Association and Patrick Henry College. She's the mom of 5, and she and her husband, Rich, have been homeschooling for 20 years. Additionally, she is the founder of the National Homeschool Speech and Debate League, NCFCA. We're going to discuss today the surprising ways that speech and debate can add tremendous value to your children's lives and your homeschool years. So stay tuned. I think you're going to really be encouraged. This podcast is brought to you by BJU Press Homeschool. Homeschooling is an exciting adventure we take with our children. One of the most challenging parts of this journey is choosing the curriculum you want to use. BJU Press Homeschool is a curriculum you can trust. All the books, resources, and videos have been designed with you and your child in mind. Their curriculum is educationally robust and rich, taking into account that children have different learning styles, strengths, and needs. Mom, you are in charge. BJU Press Homeschool is here to come alongside and support you. Do you need help with the teaching load, or is there a subject you just don't want to teach? Their amazing video courses are available for all grades and almost every subject. BJU Press Homeschool believes that homeschooling can produce a new generation of students who know God, love their neighbors, and stand firm in their faith. For more information, go to bjupresshomeschool.com. That's bjupresshomeschool.com. Christy, it is so great to have you with us today. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm delighted to be here, Zan. Thank you for having me.
Well, listen, I want to get started by talking about your growing up years. You homeschooled in the 80s, like
Yep.
we did. Your family was a couple of years ahead of us. So for those of you who don't know, Christy's mom and dad are Vicki and Mike Ferris. And so she grew up. I don't guess you were really ever afraid of the policeman coming to your door, Christy.
Well, I mean, yeah, my dad is a lawyer, so but we did. We stayed indoors during school hours. We tried not to go out because you got a lot of like hostile looks or very questioning looks, people asking you lots of questions about why you weren't in school. So we tended to stay home during school hours.
Well, I know that you started out in school.
Yes.
And maybe, was it after first grade your mom brought you home?
That's right. I was having a traumatic experience with first grade. The teacher was great. The school was a private Christian school. It was a good school. But I think for me, I don't know. I had separation anxiety. I was crying every morning going off to school. So that was definitely part of my parents' reason for deciding to homeschool.
That, and then I think your mom was praying about it, and then your dad met Dr. Moore.
That's right.
And we are so glad y'all all did that, because it certainly did lead to thousands of other people, hundreds of thousands of other people being able to homeschool. So do you have any early memories of those first years of homeschooling, relief or just joy, or were you just too little to remember?
No, I can remember some of it. A funny story is that, so this is pretty hilarious. When I was in first grade in the private school, I looked around the classroom and I saw, here's 25 kids and we're all doing the same page of work. And that didn't make sense to me. I'm like, why are we all doing the same thing? If the person next to me is doing it, then I don't need to do it. So I copied all my answers all through first grade. I just looked at what other people were doing and just wrote it down because it didn't make sense to me. Why are we all doing the same work? And so when my mom opened up the books for second grade, I was like, I don't know any of this stuff. I don't know how to do math. I don't know anything. So my mom was very patient with me. I loved the individual attention. It was so nice to be working one-on-one with my mom, to be with my sisters. At that time, it was, I think, just the three of us girls, the three oldest girls, and I just loved it.
Oh, that is so great. Well, that must have been your summa cum laude brain kicking in the first grade to wonder why, to even have the thought, why are we all doing the same thing?
I know, it's ridiculous.
that was definitely a thought, thinking out of the box for a 6-year-old. Thus the beginnings of speech and debate.
Yes, right. Why are we doing this? This doesn't make sense.
So then you homeschooled all the way through high school.
That's right. Yep. Yep.
And then, so when did you meet Rich, your husband? So I have to tell y'all this who are listening. Rich, for a couple of years, I worked at crosswalk.com, managing the homeschool community there and doing newsletters every day. It was quite the grueling schedule, but Rich was my boss. And so we had a great time working together. I loved working with Rich.
Yes, and he loved working with you too. So Rich and I met when we were 13, and my parents were starting a church. We had recently moved and a bunch of circumstances, and so it was my family and 4 other families. One of those 5 original families of the church was Rich's family. So we met planting a church together. Yeah.
Okay, y'all were 13, but was it love at first sight?
For Rich, yes.
Well, I understand that.
13-year-old boys are not very attractive yet. But we grew up together through high school, and we actually became really, really good friends first, which was great. I mean, it was great to have that opportunity. And then it was, I guess, when we were seniors in high school that I started thinking, maybe I'm a little more interested than just friendship. So
all right. So then where did you end up going to college?
I went to Cedarville University in Ohio. It's a small Christian liberal arts college.
So tell me a little bit about that experience and what led you into speech and debate. So we'll get to this in a minute, but Christy really did start the first homeschool speech and debate league. And so it was not a thing in the homeschooling community at all. What year did you go to college?
Let's see, that was, I took a year off between high school and college. My dad ran for state office in Virginia. So Rich and I both worked on his campaign. That was 1993. And then in 94, I went to college. So 1994, and my dad was the one who encouraged me to join the debate team. Because,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he knew your brain.
Yeah, he knew I spent my whole childhood arguing with him. So, I mean, he's a lawyer, so I come by it naturally, right? But
that's
chip off the old block there. And he said, you got to join the debate team. So I did and loved it, just loved it. And my dad and I had lots of phone calls. That was probably my number one call home from college, was calling my dad to talk about debate strategy.
Now, that's pretty awesome. That's a good memory.
It was a great time. I started, and then I took the class to get more understanding of what is going on. Because really, when I went to my first debate meeting, it was like they were talking a foreign language. There's all this jargon and terminology, and I had no idea what was going on. So I took the class, joined the team, and I competed with them for the than 3 years.
One of the things that I do think is so true that you said, if you've never been a part of formal speech and debate, the whole, it can be so intimidating.
Yes.
Because it is like speaking a foreign language, and the structure of the debates are so formal, and also they're also individual things you can do in debate, like speeches and dramatic interpretations, and
Yes.
and I think that's good for people to be aware of too. But it's nice to know that as the founder of the Homeschool Speech and Debate League, you had all those same feelings when you were introduced to it the first time.
For sure. It can be very overwhelming. That's something that now as a debate teacher and coach, I really try hard to make it easy and simple at the beginning, to ease people into it, because yeah, it can be intimidating.
So when did you start? How long had you been doing debate when you and your dad talked about starting a debate league for homeschoolers?
So that was in my junior year of college. I came home for Christmas break, so halfway through the junior year, and my dad was still like, we need to give this opportunity to homeschool students, because I had never had that opportunity. I was just getting my first chance in college. So I was a little bit behind. The other college debaters had done it in high school, and I hadn't had that opportunity. So he was all excited about it. And my dad, if you know him, he likes to come up with ideas for starting new organizations once a week.
That's right.
So as family members, we all just kind of like roll our eyes like, oh, here goes Dad again with another organization to start. But he's like, you, Christy, you are not going to the New Year's Eve party that you're headed out the door to until you write me a plan on how to start a debate league for homeschool students. I want the rules. I want a plan of how we're going to do it. And you have to give it to me before you're allowed to go to that party.
Well, that was highly motivating.
Yeah. So that's why I started it. Yeah. Yeah.
So did you actually start it then? Did you start running that organization while you were still in college?
Yes. And at first it was under the wings of HSLDA, which my dad was, running
President,
at the time.
yeah.
Yeah. And so HSLDA hired me, and I wrote a little debate curriculum about how to, what is policy debate. And I ran the day-to-day operations under HSLDA guidance. And so then we had the first national debate championship that summer. So the summer between my junior and senior year, we had a national championship. And from there, then I just continued running it for, I think 5 years until the birth of my third child. I had 3 children in 2 years and 9 months. That's all single birth. Yeah. No triplets or twins. Yeah. And so at the birth of my third child, I was like, this is too much for me to run day to day. And that's when it became its own nonprofit organization, not under HSLDA anymore.
Okay. Oh, that's
when it became what we now is called NCFCA. It's a long acronym.
Okay. Tell us what it stands for.
It's National Christian Forensics, which forensics means those speech events that you were talking about, individual speech events. Okay. National Christian Forensics and Communications Association. I even misspoke it, but we call it NCFCA Christian Speech and Debate. Okay. Because it is distinctively Christian. We really work hard to instill a biblical worldview in everything we do. So at the time it became NCFCA, I stayed on the board of directors. And my dad actually stayed on the board of directors too for the first few years, just helping us really get our footing.
That first National Debate League that was at the National Homeschooling Conference, yes. How many kids had participated at that point, do you think?
I think probably only about 100 kids. We had 16 debate teams at the national championship. That's a 2-person team, so 32 kids made it to the championship, and then we brought the top 2 teams to that national conference in the fall to do their final debate round in front of all the homeschool leaders.
Yeah, that I remember that. That was pretty amazing. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah, that was a fantastic experience. That's what really got it going was, and still to this day, if you see the students actually in the debate or giving their speeches, you just can't help but love it and want your kids or grandkids to participate.
It's the truth. I mean, we came back. So Christy and I were just at the NCFCA tournament finals in
right.
Anderson, South Carolina together. And it does, being there as a grandparent, I thought, okay, I've got to get my grandkids going in this because you see so much value in it.
For sure.
Okay, so Christy, let's back up a little bit.
Sure.
So you graduated, even though you said you felt behind those other students, you won some national debate award.
Yes.
Your senior year. What was that?
That was the Outstanding Graduate Award for the league that I was in. It was really the award for the highest GPA. So it wasn't totally debate skill.
Well, I'm sure the GPA helped with all of that.
Yeah. Yes. And so I graduated in June and we got married in August. We had the 3 girls right away. And then we adopted 2 boys, biological brothers from Haiti. For an international adoption, it went incredibly smoothly. From day one, it was like, this is my mom and dad. These are my sisters. It's actually very unusual.
So tell us what your oldest son is going to be doing this year.
Oh, yes. He's there right now.
Oh, is he there already?
Yes,
Okay.
he went yesterday. So he's going to be at the Virginia Military Institute, VMI, playing football. So he's a football player. He's a running back. He's a freshman, so I don't know how much play time he'll get. But anyone who wants to watch some VMI football, you may see Zan Shipe out there on the field.
What a cool name. I know we're going to be watching some VMI football this year.
Awesome. Me too.
So let's talk about speech and debate for a little bit, Christy. How old do the speech and debate leagues start? How old do your children have to be to begin participating?
So it starts at 12, although we do say it's a high school league. Mm-hmm. But, with homeschoolers, that age, as we all know, doesn't define what grade you're in.
Right, yes, that's
so
right.
Some 12-year-olds are ready for that high school level activity. Some of my kids started at 12. Some of my kids didn't start till 16. So it really depends on your child and what they're interested in, what they're capable of. One of my daughters was so stressed out by it. Tears were just rolling down her cheeks as she was debating. So I was like, you know what? Let's just wait on this until you feel more comfortable. And then she loved it at 16. So it's a high school activity, but it's up to you as the parent what age you want to get your kids involved. Sometimes the 12-year-olds will start with a few individual speeches instead of right away into the debate round.
Into the debate, yes. Yeah, I can see that. See that. Mm-hmm. So if somebody wants to get their child in debate, how do they find a league or a team or a club near them? Yes.
A great place to start is our website, NCFCA.org. And we have every summer we have summer camps for new students. And so I would encourage you on our website, in our shop, you can sign up for these camps. So I just tell you about the 3 that we offer. We have what we call Young Philosophers. That's the Intro to Value Debate camp. That's July 9th. And then Find Your Voice. That's our Introduction to Speech camp. And that's July 10th. And that's Debatable. That's Intro to Policy Debate. And that's July 11th. So July 9th, 10th, 11th, you could take one of those intro camps. That's online.
Okay.
You can also buy the recordings later and just do it in your home if you want. Okay. But that's a great summer introduction. And then our website can show you where all the clubs are around the country. We have clubs all around the nation. And I'm going to be offering an intro to policy debate class through the fall, where I'll be teaching online too. If people are interested in that, they can reach me through the NCFCA website.
Okay. So tell us, Christy, tell us what you think are the benefits of speech and debate. Why is this good for kids?
I think of it in 3 categories. The benefits are communication, critical thinking, and character. Those 3 areas. I mean, communication skills, obviously you think of speaking, right?
Right.
And of course, the students are going to exercise those speaking skills, learning how to speak in front of an audience. I know a lot of people are scared of public speaking, but my vision is if Christian young people are the ones who, when they get asked to speak, they're already trained in the skills. They're not afraid to say, yes, I will. I will take that platform. I will accept this invitation. I will get up. I will speak. Like, that's my goal, is that Christians are ready and willing to take those platforms when they're offered. So those kind of public speaking skills are fantastic. But also the other communication skills that you learn through speech and debate are how to listen. That is equally as important.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Right? Like, really listen, especially in debate, because you have to listen very carefully to what the other person is saying so you can understand their perspective and know how to respond. So listening is critical, learning to ask good questions, learning to answer questions, and to do it all, under some amount of pressure and time pressure as well, because you have to respond quickly. Then for the critical thinking, man, I mean, right now, this is an age of information. Just so much information bombarding us everywhere. And helping your kids navigate that is tough. I think speech and debate helps kids learn the skills to navigate information, to know what's true, what's false, what is a trustworthy source, what is not a trustworthy source, and sort through that information and find the good, find what we can trust, learn how to support their arguments and their beliefs with quality evidence and reasoning, and then learn how to analyze other people's arguments and beliefs and positions, contemporary issues, learn how to deconstruct that, how to respond to that, and how to apply a biblical worldview to those kinds of issues. And then the character. This is something that is really lacking in communication in our world. Learning how to be gracious to an opponent, right? Because in a debate round, you have an opponent right there. And this debate teaches you how to do that graciously, understand what they're saying, characterize your opponent fairly, like be able to characterize your opponent in a way that they would agree with. Yes, that's what I'm saying. And then answer them graciously. And then how to handle, just any kind of competitive thing, like sports can teach this too, but learning how to handle the wins and losses graciously and learn from those. And then, like I mentioned before, with the evidence and support, learning how to support your arguments with honesty and integrity, not stretching the truth, not twisting it in your favor. So all 3 of those categories, communication, critical thinking, character, it's the single activity I know that trains all of those skills at the same time.
That's pretty amazing, because I know we're all concerned, as homeschooling parents and those of us who have been in the movement for a long time, for our kids to have those critical thinking skills. And even if when you talk to secular educators, the thing they bemoan the most is the ability to think critically. And and I think as Christians, we need to know that everybody we speak with has a worldview, whether it's the country western singer or the blogger or the podcaster. And the only way to be able to not diagnose, but to understand that worldview, listen to a person and not necessarily be taken in by everything they say, is to, like you say, be able to deconstruct an argument and think, this is what I believe, this is what they say, let's see how this all works out together. And
Absolutely.
And I know that's one thing I love about my work at BJU Press Homeschool, is that it is really a curriculum centered on two things: biblical worldview and critical thinking skills. I mean, it's very robust educationally, but I love those two things. And that is what I saw at the speech and debate tournament this year, was those two things in spade. It was just so heartening for me to see that, and to see the teens who were up there speaking, better than most lawyers could. And, Thank you for joining Christy and me today for part 1 of this 2-part episode. If you want to get in touch with Christy or find out more about speech and debate, go to ncfca.org. ncfca.org, or email her at Christy Shipe at ncfca.org. You can find me at zantyler.com and on social media. Thank you for being here with us today, and until next time, may God continue to bless you and your family. Bye.